Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Bonnie.
How are you, little Miss Hairnet lady?
I'm groovy. I'm groovy today.
You look like a little lunch lady today.
Well, I am today, sort of. That's our dessert today is called a peanut butter lunch lady cookie bar. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit. My mother was a lunch lady.
Oh, hi, Mom.
She worked several years as a cook for the local grade school that we all went to. It was after I was there, but she would bring home these peanut butter bars, and I loved them. So today, you guys are going to get something I loved.
So your mom was a lunch lady, and so today you're going to be a lunch lady.
I am. I think we ought to respect and give everybody a shout out that works out there in the food industry that serves us our food. I don't know what schools are doing for cooks these days, but just a shout out. They're out there on one of the front lines. They're feeding us. So
they're lunch ladies.
The lunch ladies. We'll give them a shout out.
Okay. Well, It looks like one's already missing, so it looks like you already taste tested. So are they as good as your mom used to make, lunch lady?
Yes. Except I think she used to drizzle chocolate across the top, and I didn't do that today, but these are so good, and they should be so good because there's a lot of butter in them, a lot of butter. Let me tell you what I did. I ate only that little half. My husband ate the other half.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. I'm believing that.
I got a pan. I put 2 cups of whole all-purpose flour. I did 2 cups of sugar, and I put baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I stirred that all up together. And that was one pan. In another pan, I put a 1/2 cup of milk. I put 2 beaten eggs, and I put a teaspoon of vanilla, and I beat that up. So I've got 2 pans. On my stove, I melted 2 sticks of butter with 1 cup of peanut butter. So I let that all melt together, and just as it started to come to a boil, I took it off, and I added all my flour slowly, stirred it in, and then I added my eggs and my milk and my vanilla that I had fixed in the other pan. So I mixed that together.
So like 3 different pans, and then you mix it all together.
Yes.
Right.
And then my oven was preheated to 400 degrees. So I opted to put it on a cookie sheet. This is what they suggested because it makes it more like a bar, a little thin bar. And I actually put parchment paper under my cookie, underneath or on top of my pan, because this will let this lift out of there very easy. It won't stick. Of course, I don't know how it could stick with all that butter in there.
Yeah, it's never sticking.
Never stick. So I baked that for 20 minutes. It was a little longer than 20 minutes. You want to test the middle with a toothpick, make sure it comes out clean. So it was just a little longer. And you have to let that cool, your cake part cool before you ice it. And the icing on the stove again, I put, I put another stick of butter. I know. That's a 1/2 cup. And then I added a 1/2 cup of peanut butter to it. And I let that melt. And then I added 2 cups of powdered sugar to that. I took it off the stove. Once it all melted, I took it off the stove and added 2 cups of powdered sugar. Now the recipe called for 4 cups of powdered sugar, but I can't imagine, because it was really hard to even spread this. I can't imagine 4 cups of powdered sugar. Added 2 and it was perfect. So then I just poured it on, or I put it on and I iced it out, and there they are.
Wow.
There they are.
So does it look kind of like a Texas sheet cake though, with like peanut butter?
It does.
Ooh.
Look here.
Well, I'm glad those didn't stick. Oh, they look good. Anything peanut buttery has to be good, except that there's a lot of butter in there too.
I think it tastes like fudge. It's delicious.
Okay, you're going to have to send me the recipe for that.
Okay.
So I can share that with everyone.
Yep. And like I say, this is in memory of my mom. I can remember she would bring leftovers from school, and this was one of the things sometimes that had leftovers.
The lunch ladies.
Lunch ladies. So
I remember lunch ladies. They were always very sweet.
very sweet, very sweet. And, you know, there's so many people out there right now cooking for us. You know, I know that our Meals on Wheels that come out, you know, all those people cook downstairs of O'Neill. Just have to admire them. You know, give them a thank you when you see them.
Give them a thank you. They're doing a good job.
Yep.
And very much appreciated.
Yep. Okay.
So what are we actually having after dessert today? We always have to start with dessert, right? Dessert first.
We do. Get that excitement out of the way, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, for me, at my age, I'd rather start with dessert just in case.
That's right. A couple things we're doing today. We're going to do some soups. Now, we're going to do a Copycat Panera chicken and wild rice soup. But I had to do it ahead because it took a while for that all to cook together. So I've got that already made up. I'll tell you how I did it, and I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll tell you how good it is. So I've already got that made up. Then we're going to do a minestrone soup that is it's a Copycat from Olive Garden. Now,
okay.
I tweaked these a little, so they're not exactly like theirs, but they're close. That one, I made half the recipe, and we'll go ahead and we'll put together the other half. So let us go ahead and do that. Okay.
So minestrone soup, what is like the main ingredient?
Vegetables is always, you know, in the main, and then you add pasta, and that's sort of what makes it minestrone soup instead of a vegetable soup. I have a pound of lean ground beef already browned up.
Okay.
I've got a zucchini. Like I said, I made half of it early, so I used a full zucchini, but half here. I've got 1 carrot. I had 2 carrots, and so the other one went in the other pot. This one goes in here.
Got it.
I had half of a medium onion, so this is the other quarter of it, and I have 1 garlic clove. So that's our vegetables. We have our ground beef. We're going to put in crushed tomatoes, and we're going to put in kidney beans.
Okay.
And beef broth. That's our liquid.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. What it calls for, the recipe I seen, is to put it in the crock pot. So I'm going to go ahead and chop this all up and put it in my crock pot. Now, the one I did this morning, I did on the stove, and you're more than welcome to do on the stove.
Either way.
Either way.
It'll still make your kitchen smell good all day.
Yeah, here's my crock pot. So I'm going to set this down here. I'm going to add all my stuff in my crock pot. When I do it on the stove, I really like to cook the onion and garlic just a little bit before I add my other stuff. It just sort of softens it up a little.
Okay.
So let's take our onion, and we're going to chop up the onion. And, you know, you can make it as coarse or as small pieces as you want. It's according to what you like. I don't like great big pieces of vegetables. I like to taste it all together. So there's my onion. And my garlic, I'm going to smash, and I'm not going to bother twisting it in my little apparatus today. I'll just
just chop it up. Just chop it.
You want to add garlic after you've added your onions and your other vegetables, just because sometimes garlic will burn a little and it will start to taste bad. Sort of tastes bitter. So let's go ahead and get our zucchini cut up. And
so this is if you were cooking it on the stove ahead of time, you mean? Don't put the garlic in until after the onion's already?
Yeah, if you're cooking on the stove. Now, with crock-pot, just sort of you throw everything in.
Right.
Now, you want to make sure your ground beef is already cooked. You don't
right.
want it raw. So this one we're just going to throw in our crock pot. So I'm just going to put it together. And here's our carrot.
You're pretty good with that knife.
Yeah, so I cut my finger. Very good. Okay, those are all of our vegetables. So let's get my crock pot up. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or at least a tablespoon now that I put in the other. So I'm going to put a little olive oil in the bottom. And then I'm going to add my vegetables. And this will cook about 4 hours on high. You can keep an eye on it. So let me get that up. So all my vegetables are in there. I'm going to dump my ground beef in.
Okay.
So my ground beef is in there. I'm going to dump my kidney beans. And I always pre-wash my kidney beans. I take them out and rinse them off.
Now, was that a half a can now, since you already had the half can on the other half?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm doing everything half in here.
Everything's half. Okay.
Yeah. But if you're doing it, do a whole can.
Right.
I've got a container of beef broth. I used half of it earlier in the one I did. I'm going to put the other half in here. That's your liquid. I tasted it earlier, the one I made earlier. And I think I would add a little oregano or some kind of spice. I thought it just a little bit more. Okay, and I've got a half a can of crushed tomatoes. So let me put that in there.
Are those crushed, like crushed tomatoes?
Yep,
okay.
Crushed. Yep. This would be a good thing to make in your crock pot when you're expecting maybe the kids over or family and you just want to get it done, put it in the crock pot and let it cook, and it'll be ready when they get there.
When they get here.
Okay, I'm going to season with salt and pepper. And I forget how much. A half a teaspoon of salt, but I already salted the other one, so I'll do a 1/4. And then it called for a whole teaspoon of black pepper. So with this one, I'll put half.
That's kind of a subjective thing, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, some people like more salt or less pepper or less salt.
Yeah. And you know, every soup I always start with, don't tell my husband, but onions and garlic. He doesn't know that.
But if he doesn't know, then we don't have to tell him.
No, and if he watches, well, whatever. But that's really a good starter for any soup is onions, and then usually I add celery and carrots and all that stuff, and it just makes a good soup. Okay, here's what it looks like, Bonnie. Can you see that?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes.
What I'll do
you're going to cook that without the pasta for now, right?
Right. You don't want to put the pasta in until it gets hot.
Okay.
So I'll probably cook this at least 3 hours. I'll sort of watch it, and it needs to be really hot before you put your pasta in there. And the pasta I'm using, are you Italian? I think it's Ditalini. What? It's little round.
I'm mostly Irish. I don't have a lot of Italian in there, so.
But they're wee little round pastas.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those before in the soups, but I never knew what they were called.
Yeah, and you can find these at your grocery store. So we won't put that in until this gets really hot. So I would say in 3 hours, I will check this, and you should be able to see, especially high, you should be able to see it cooking, bubbling. Yeah. When it's bubbling and hot, then I'll put my pasta in. I'll put the lid back on, stir it all up, and I'll probably let it cook for another hour. That pasta has to absorb that liquid and cook. So this afternoon,
it all sounds good.
This afternoon, I'll have another pot of soup. So let me set this in my crock pot.
I think, did we make those for Cooking Club one time, like a year ago?
Yeah, I think we did.
Did we make them in the center one time, like a year ago?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Because I think everybody loved every one of your soups.
Well, actually, I'll plate that up in a minute. I've got something else I want to do before we do the soups. One more.
You have our undivided attention.
Okay. The next thing we're going to do, because soup, you have to have something to go with soup, right?
Right.
Peanut butter bars is probably not enough.
They would be more than enough.
So today, along with this, I found a recipe for 7-Up biscuits. It's biscuits made with Bisquick and 7-Up.
Sounds like a weird combination, but I'll go with it.
Bisquick, sour cream, and 7-Up. And that's all it takes, and butter in your dish. And that's all it takes.
And these come out okay, right? I mean, you're sure of it.
Well, I baked a pan earlier and they look gorgeous.
Okay, good.
So we'll see what they're like. So I'm going to add 2 cups of Bisquick. Now I cut this recipe again in half. So 2 cups of Bisquick. And to this, I'm going to put a half a cup of sour cream. The recipe, of course, I halved it. So half a cup of sour cream. And what I'm going to do with the sour cream is I'm just sort of going to cut it through the Bisquick. Okay. So just mix it up so it's all incorporated in that Bisquick. Sort of like cutting butter when you're making biscuits. Same idea when you cut butter through your biscuits. Yeah, this was really...
It's just something I've never thought of doing, so it's different.
It's easy, very easy.
Well, yeah, it looks like it. And you've melted how much butter in the bottom of the pan?
There's a, let me see. There's a half, yes, a half a, let's see, 4 cups. It's a 1/4 of a cup of butter because it's a half a cup for all of it. Okay. So this is a 1/4 a cup of butter. And I just melted it, put it in the bottom of my pan.
Melted it, yeah.
It's floating around there.
Okay.
Okay, this is all incorporated. I take 7-Up and I'm gonna put a half a cup of 7-Up in there. 7-Up, go figure.
Yeah, that's not something I would have thought of.
I read the reviews for this.
Okay.
Always go down and read what everyone else has done because sometimes things work better than other things. The original recipe had you laying it out and cutting them into biscuits, round biscuits. It's so sticky that I couldn't do that. And so I just did drop biscuits and it turned out perfectly fine. Okay. And I read that on the reviews that it was awful sticky. It's just too sticky. And if you add more flour, I don't know what it would do to it. But as you can see, it's pretty sticky.
Well, it's kind of looking like dough, though.
It is. But if you're going to do biscuits, it'll be thick enough that you could put it down and cut them. But this is just a little bit thin. So this is what I did with this. Is I actually just dropped it in my pan, and I made just dollops, like little drops.
Yeah, that'd work.
When they baked all together. So I'm just going to drop these out. I baked these for a 425 oven, and I baked them for 20 minutes. And it was right on the money, really, the 20 minutes. I had these perfect in the other pan.
What, you have extra now?
I don't have enough. That's okay. The other pan's perfect.
From the magic oven?
Yeah, from the magic oven. Maybe I can get one more.
And I'm pretty sure that the hairnet's making everything much better.
I think so. There we are. Now, if I had a spatula here, I could probably maybe get one more, but that's okay. So anyway, I just dropped them out in my pan. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw them in the magic oven.
Magic oven. Ta-da!
Ta-da! They're so even.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are actually really nice looking biscuits.
Yeah. And easy. How much easier could you get?
No,
now,
not much.
True test. Let me taste one.
Oh, you mean you didn't pre-test these?
No, I have no idea what they taste like.
Oh.
Look, they come out really nice.
Well, they look nice. Are those still warm?
Little bit.
Now, do they taste a little bit sweet?
Yes.
From the 7-Up?
Probably. It's either 7-Up or the Bisquic's a little sweeter too. And dry. I gotta get a glass of water.
You should be drinking your water anyway, so you stay hydrated.
Those are really good. Really good.
Well, that's good. That's an easy recipe too.
Be good to take one of these and split it. You know, if you're going to have family or whatever, split it down the middle. Maybe put a sausage patty and some scrambled egg on it and a little bit of cheese. Wouldn't that be good?
For breakfast. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, let's get our soups up here. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get our minestrone up first, since you've seen I had it together for you. And this one I did earlier, and it's still hot. So I don't want to set it on my plate. Whoa, that looked good.
How's it smell?
Good. Look here, Bonnie. Can you see that?
Ooh, oh. Now that's the one you made earlier.
Yeah, this is the one that I made on the stove. We did the other half in the crock pot.
Right. The magic of the stove, yes.
So here we are.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
I can see it steaming. Oh, it looks lovely.
Can you smell it?
Well, yeah, I can pretend smell it.
Got the ground beef and the pasta's all cooked up, the little round
It looks
pasta.
great. Oh, yeah.
Just a second, I'll let you know.
That's so not fair.
That is perfect for a cold day. So
Now, how long
perfect.
can you keep all of that and save it? Because you've got a lot of soup today.
I can actually put this soup in quart jars and put the lid on it, and I can keep it in the refrigerator for the whole week. I mean,
Okay.
now,
Because if I'm home cooking for myself, I could make like a half of a batch and
Right.
save it in jars for the whole week.
yeah, and you could probably actually even make it and freeze it in little Ziploc baggies. Make sure that they don't leak, but freeze them in Ziploc baggies, and then when you want one, just take it out, thaw it, heat it up, and you've got soup.
That's true. I could do that too. Okay.
The next one, and it's hot too. Both these are hot. This is my chicken and rice. I hate that I couldn't do it for everybody because it just takes too long. This is the one from Panera Bread.
Panera, yes.
And this is everybody's favorite. I think everybody likes this. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty runny, but see that.
Tip it, yes. Oh,
It's
yeah. Chicken and rice soup.
Chicken and rice soup. And how I did this one was, I put some in here. I started off with my onions and some, I think this recipe's on the web, isn't it?
Yeah, it's posted with the Zoom link, yes.
Okay. But this one I started out with a teaspoon of olive oil, 1 medium onion, and I finally chopped it. Half a cup of finely diced celery and a half a cup of finely diced carrots. And like I say, that's the way I start a lot of my soups.
Right,
So
just get it started with the veggies and the basics.
I sort of wait till the onions start to look translucent before I start adding other things. So then I added 3 cloves of garlic.
Don't say that too loud.
And then I had a half a teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, and a bay leaf. And I added 32 ounces of chicken broth. In those containers, this is actually 32 ounces. I added the chicken broth. And I let that all come together and cook. I added then 2 cups of water. And for 15 minutes, I just sort of let everything get together. You know, they were
simmer and everything. Yeah. Soak up all the stuff.
Yeah. In their little hot tub. They're getting all to be friends. Then,
in their hot tub, they're getting to be friends.
in my soup pot. So
Okay.
then
I'll never get that out of my brain now.
I had cooked some chicken earlier. I took 2 large chicken breasts and just baked them, and I chopped them up. Now you can do a rotisserie chicken, but you need it ended up being about a cup, real close to a little more than a cup, actually, is what it was, of diced or shredded chicken. So you add that in next. And then next you add, you put milk in it. You put a cup of milk earlier, forgot to add that. And then after all this is together, you take a cup of milk with 2 tablespoons, half a cup of flour, and you mix that all together, whisk it together, and
Right.
it's your thickener for your soup.
Okay.
So you slowly pour that into everything in the hot tub and whisk it together. Whisk it together, and it thickens it a little.
Okay.
And then you add a box of rice-a-roni.
Oh.
This is the long grain and wild rice. So you pour a box of this in. There's a seasoning packet in there, and you want to add the seasoning packet. Make sure
So
you
just throw it all in there, huh?
Yeah, you have to open the package because it's in there. But add that all in there, stir it all up, add a little salt and pepper to taste, and just let it cook for about 10 minutes or so, 20 minutes till the rice is soft. You're done.
That
That's it.
rice step's pretty easy. I thought the rice step was going to be a little harder, but that's easy. That whole thing didn't take too long.
Oh my goodness, that is really
I really
good.
like that soup, so that would be my favorite of the 2.
Yeah, so
And some biscuits.
I have biscuits,
And
and I have my minestrone soup. I've got my chicken soup. I've got my biscuits, and then I have my Lunch Lady peanut butter bars. Looky there.
you're such a good lunch lady.
I am a good lunch lady.
You are a good lunch lady.
I'm not going to eat all those. I'll end up giving some of those away, so you never know who will get some.
Man, it's such a nice warm lunch for the days getting chillier out, and it's perfect. I mean, some people working from home, not even putting pants on for today, and having a nice warm lunch. It's
And I
perfect.
think what's so nice about these soups, you can do them up ahead, and you can put them in the quart jars. Sometimes it'll seal it a little, and that's why it keeps a little fresher. Or you can freeze them, and then for 2 or 3 weeks, you have frozen soup you can get out.
Just
heat
pull
up.
it out. Yep, it's perfect. Perfect. All right.
Well, I'm going to see you tomorrow, Bonnie. I'm going to come in for the painting class.
Oh, yes, it's starting to fill up, so I'm glad you're coming in.
Yep.
You're supposed to be coming for chair exercises, I was told. That Becky's still supposed to show up. So our classes are starting to fill back up, so we're real excited about that. People are starting to come home. They're starting to find us again, and
Good.
I had to remind them yesterday they couldn't be hugging each other as soon as they walked in the door, but
And of
they
course,
were still,
everybody wears a mask. And has
everyone wears a mask, and we take their temperature when they come in. Of course, we have 6 feet apart, and we have hand sanitizing stations, but so far nobody seemed to mind it too much, and they're just happy to be together. And classes usually take a little longer than normal because they just enjoy catching up.
Yep.
So it's nice to have people back in our building.
Yep.
It'll be nice to see you tomorrow.
And
And-
thank you, Bonnie, for all that you do for the seniors. Thank you so much, all of O'Neill. We thank them for all that they do for people.
Thank you. We love our seniors, and whatever we can do. It's been a tough 6 months, but we're ready to
get back
and start having a good time again.
And not only do we eat well to be healthy, I think we need to be around other people to keep healthy and also independent and productive. So we stay hip.
We're keeping hip. We're bringing hip back to Belpre, so we are set. And we're going to have some good food to go along with it. And it's fun to have you do it every week with us.
Yep.
It's like old home week every week.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, stay hip. Drink your water. Thanks for everything again. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.